Unlock your inner warrior. Life lessons from Miyamoto Musashi. Miyamoto Musashi, the undefeated samurai and master strategist, left behind not just a record of martial prowess, but a timeless philosophy for mastering oneself and navigating life. His wisdom is captured in his seminal work, The Book of Five Rings, a text that continues to inspire individuals across disciplines, from martial artists to business leaders. Musashi's philosophy resonates with those seeking clarity, discipline, and purpose in their lives, offering profound guidance on how to approach challenges, cultivate resilience, and achieve mastery. Here, we explore 5 of Musashi's most profound teachings and the lessons they hold for mastering your life. 1. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. Musashi challenges us to shift our focus from self-centered concerns to a broader, more profound understanding of the world. When we obsess over our ego or personal struggles, we lose sight of the larger context. Thinking lightly of oneself doesn't mean undervaluing your worth. Rather, it means cultivating humility and seeing your place in the grander scheme of life. By adopting this mindset, you free yourself from petty anxieties and develop a sense of purpose rooted in service and understanding. This teaching invites us to practice mindfulness and introspection. How often do we pause to consider the needs of others or reflect on how our actions affect the greater whole? Musashi's wisdom encourages us to look beyond our immediate circumstances and recognize the interconnectedness of life. By thinking deeply about the world, we develop empathy and a sense of responsibility, both of which are essential for personal growth and meaningful relationships. Consider how adopting this worldview might reduce stress and foster a sense of belonging in our modern, fast-paced society. 2. The way is in training. Musashi's life exemplifies the principle of relentless practice. Whether in martial arts, art, or any pursuit, mastery is born of consistent effort. Training isn't merely about acquiring skills, it's about forging character. This teaching reminds us that the path to excellence lies in the daily grind, the repetition of fundamentals, and the commitment to improvement. Success isn't an accident, it's the outcome of disciplined preparation. The value of training extends beyond the physical. It shapes the mind and spirit, teaching patience, perseverance, and the importance of small, incremental progress. In our modern world, where instant gratification is often prioritized, Musashi's emphasis on steady, deliberate effort serves as a powerful reminder that true mastery requires time and dedication. Each step forward, no matter how small, contributes to the larger journey of self-improvement. Musashi's words also remind us that the journey of training is transformative. The person you become through practice is often more important than the skill you acquire. This perspective can be liberating, shifting our focus from outcomes to the process itself. 3. Fixation is the way to death. Fluidity is the way to life. This insight underscores the importance of adaptability. In both combat and life, rigidity can be your downfall. The world is in constant flux, and those who cling to fixed ideas or resist change often falter. Musashi's philosophy encourages us to be like water, flowing around obstacles and embracing new challenges. By remaining open and flexible, we increase our resilience and capacity to thrive in uncertainty. Adaptability doesn't mean abandoning your principles, it means finding new ways to express them. Consider how the world has changed in recent years. Advances in technology, shifts in societal norms, and unexpected global events have challenged us to rethink how we live and work. Musashi's lesson is clear. Those who can adjust their approach while staying true to their core values will find the greatest success and fulfillment. The ability to adapt is not just a survival skill, but a cornerstone of growth and innovation. Reflect on times in your own life when adaptability has led to unexpected success. Musashi's teaching reminds us that flexibility is not weakness, but strength in disguise. 4. Do nothing which is of no use. Musashi's emphasis on efficiency is as relevant today as it was in 17th century Japan. In an age of endless distractions and superficial pursuits, his advice cuts to the core. Eliminate what doesn't serve your goals or values. Whether it's unnecessary commitments, habits, or thoughts, streamlining your life allows you to focus on what truly matters. This practice isn't about asceticism, it's about aligning your actions with your purpose. To apply this principle, start by examining how you spend your time and energy. Are your daily routines aligned with your long-term objectives? Do you prioritize tasks that contribute to your personal and professional growth? Musashi's wisdom invites us to declutter not just our physical spaces, but also our mental and emotional landscapes. By doing so, we create room for what is truly meaningful, whether it's nurturing relationships, pursuing passions, or contributing to a greater cause. This teaching challenges us to re-evaluate our priorities. Are we truly dedicating our time to what fulfills us, or are we succumbing to societal pressures and distractions? By simplifying our lives, we open the door to deeper fulfillment and clarity. 5. Today is victory over yourself of yesterday. Tomorrow is your victory over lesser men. Musashi's words highlight the essence of personal growth. Compete not with others, but with yourself. Each day is an opportunity to overcome your limitations, fears, and weaknesses. By focusing on self-improvement, you become a stronger, wiser, and more capable individual. The true battle isn't external, it's within. Mastering yourself today sets the foundation for mastering greater challenges tomorrow. This philosophy can be transformative when applied consistently. Instead of measuring success by external standards or comparing yourself to others, turn inward and reflect on your progress. Celebrate small victories, learn from setbacks, and use each experience as a stepping stone toward greater self-awareness and capability. Musashi's message is clear. The path to mastery begins with mastering the self. Visualize how this principle might look in practice. Imagine ending each day with a reflection on your progress and planning small, actionable steps for improvement. Over time, these incremental victories compound into significant transformation. Applying Musashi's wisdom. Musashi's teachings are more than historical reflections. They're practical principles for modern life. By embracing humility, committing to discipline, staying adaptable, focusing on what matters, and pursuing daily self-improvement, you can transform your life. These lessons invite us to approach life with the precision and mindfulness of a master swordsman, making every decision intentional and every moment meaningful. Imagine applying these principles in your own life. What would it mean to think deeply about the world and act with purpose? How would your life change if you committed fully to training, embraced adaptability, and eliminated distractions? These are the questions Musashi's wisdom compels us to ask. As Musashi himself demonstrated, mastery isn't about perfection, it's about progress. In mastering yourself, you unlock the potential to master your life and navigate its complexities with wisdom and strength. His teachings remind us that the journey to mastery is not a destination, but a way of being, one that requires courage, discipline, and an unyielding commitment to growth. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the timeless wisdom of Miyamoto Musashi. If you found these insights valuable, please like this video and subscribe to Aeon's Mentors for more content exploring ancient wisdom for modern growth. Share your thoughts in the comments below and let us know which of Musashi's teachings resonated with you the most. Until next time, keep striving for mastery and living with purpose.